Hi guys, my name is Main and welcome to If I'm Being Honest. So, If I'm Being Honest is a podcast that I've been thinking of creating for a little bit now. It's just, as you can imagine, doing anything for the first time is a little bit scary, and I just haven't had the guts to sit down and hit record, to be honest. But here I am, and initially I had a different view of how I wanted the first episode to go, but I figured why not just jump straight to the deep end and start with the hard-hitting conversations. So as you can tell from the title, this episode is all about being embarrassed, or more so the lack of embarrassment that I think we are feeling as a society. I think embarrassment is something we almost think we're above feeling at this point. I think kulħadd at a point għadda minna li you thought of something, you thought of someone and you wanted to send a message, but you didn't because you're scared of being judged or how the other person will perceive you. Even moments where you say it's fine to someone, but it's literally not fine, and you're probably just spiraling in your head and you're overthinking and you're overcome with anxiety. But at that moment, you don't speak up, you don't say what you're feeling, and you're not honest about what you're feeling. And this ties hand in hand with, in my opinion, a problem that we're having in this day and age that we're living in, and that's the nonchalant era. We're mistaking being nonchalant for being confident, and they are just not the same at all. And I will tell you why. I don't know where, I don't know who, but somewhere along the way we have decided that being nonchalant and being detached is attractive. It seems that if you care about anything, if you say you care about anything, if you care too much, you're cringe. If you're trying too hard, you're embarrassed. If you openly say you care about something, openly say you want something, no, that's desperate. And we have this attitude of I don't care, and it's the new social currency, it seems. And in my opinion, this nonchalantness comes from fear. It's fear with better marketing. Instead of people saying I'm scared, we're going they're nonchalant. And it's like, who are you kidding? And it's not just, it's everyone. I am also, I do this as well. I'm a victim of this as well. But we're acting like effort is embarrassing. Like wanting anything badly enough is a weakness. And people seem that they're above caring. And that is what I think we are all afraid of deep down. We're afraid of coming off too strong. We're afraid of coming off that we care. And we're afraid, ultimately, of just being seen. Most people, I believe, are scared. And with that fear comes people, and most of us, all looking the same. We all look, or we all seem, perhaps is a better word, we all seem detached, we all seem a little bit unbothered, maybe untouchable. But I think if you look back, if you let go of all this and you really look underneath, you will find that we are all so similar. And that ultimately we are all so afraid. We all just have too much fear. And I'm not here to tell you how to get rid of that fear. I don't know how to not feel that fear. I feel that fear. I feel it all the time. And this isn't a self-help podcast. I don't have the answers for you. This is just me thinking out loud, and you need to come up with your own answers, because I don't think this is something, not a one-size-fits-all kind of solution. But there is an upside to feeling embarrassed, and that is that I think even if you're there and you're feeling embarrassed, it is proof li għall-inqas provajt. at least you tried to do something. And even if you do fail, failure shows you that you chose yourself. You chose what you wanted to do over feeling safe and feeling comfortable. If you're trying to avoid embarrassment, you're doing it to protect yourself. But in protecting yourself, that protection that you think you're doing, it's keeping you small and it keeps you quiet. And the worst part of it all is that it keeps you unfulfilled. And it is so sad to say, but I think most of us are more afraid of feeling or being perceived as foolish and being seen as embarrassing than we are of being unfulfilled. And that is a wild statement. I'm going to say it again. We're more afraid of being foolish than being unfulfilled. It is so scary to think about feeling unfulfilled. And don't think about it now. Think about in 10 years, would you, not even 10, because I'm in my mid-20s. In 10 years, I'll still be young. But I don't know, in 30 years, what are you going to sit there and think? For example, for myself, am I going to sit there 30 years time and think and say, I tried to do this podcasting for a year, it was super fun, I said my thoughts, I was honest with people and whatever, it was fun? Or am I going to sit there and say, Istra, I always had the thought of doing this, but I never did it. I never got around to it. I was always too scared. Embarrassment is like a ticket to life, and it's a ticket to the life you actually want. Recently, I saw this somewhere and it became my motto, to be honest. And it says, enter action with boldness. And that is exactly what I think we should be doing more of, being bold. And what I mean by being bold, I don't mean being arrogant. I don't mean being loud. I don't mean that you have to be the center of every room you walk into. But I think with being bold, you can be more honest, you can be earnest, and you can still be visible. And in doing so, I think you will realize and you will understand that caring deeply is not a weakness and that it never was. I was actually reading Sylvia Plath, arguably one of the best authors, and in one of her journals, she says something along the lines like, I want to live. And she wants to, and I want to feel all the shades, all the tones of mental and physical experiences possible in my life, something like that. Don't quote me on it. And I think it's such a beautiful way of seeing this and bearing in mind this particular journal she wrote in her 20s, probably in her early 20s. And when she wrote that, I think she was doing the opposite of playing it cool. That is wanting to feel everything, even if that feeling is embarrassing. And that is refusing smallness. It's refusing to remain quiet, and it's refusing to remain where you are. And that is the energy that I want to have moving forward. So for me, it's just that it's interactions with boldness. And I'm not trying to say go change the world, I don't think it has to be that. I think like just be realistic, it's post something even if you think it's embarrassing, post something even if it's not going to do well, if you're interested in someone, send them a message, go up to them and say hi, start up a conversation. It's these little small things of admitting you're trying and being honest about wanting more and saying openly and honestly that you care about something without feeling the need to cushion it. And I think that's what is bold. And it's bold because not because it guarantees success, but because you risk feeling embarrassed. And I think that's what it should be all about. When I was trying to gather the courage to sit down and film this podcast, one thing I was afraid of was to come off as embarrassing. And a question I kept asking myself is, if I didn't know, I would never know what people are thinking about me. If nothing really mattered, is this something I still wanted to do? And the answer was always yes. So I don't think the goal is to eliminate cringiness. I think the goal is to be brave enough to survive it, to feel the awkwardness, have a laugh about it with your friends, whatever. Because I think if it comes down to it, I think the people who feel the most alive and fulfilled are usually the ones who have stopped trying to play it cool and who just don't care and who are comfortable just being themselves. So maybe I do have some words of advice or some words of encouragement, and it's just that, just be yourself, be honest, and enter actions with boldness. See you next week.